It's the UFC Matchmaking Guru. Today we're going to break down the Bantamweight division. If you're new, I'm going to tell you every fight I want to see in the UFC Bantamweight division. It's interesting again. We've had the resurgence of Uriah Faber. The kid is back on the scene. The California kid is back on the scene. Uriah Faber's in the mix. Bantamweight's interesting again while Cejudo is injured and goes to defend his belt at 125. So right now we need to know what's the next steps for the UFC Bantamweight division. Starting with the best of the best. I'm talking about Aljamain Sterling. He's right at the top of the mix. No. Let's talk about Marlon Moraes first. Okay, I think it's very important to talk about Marlon Moraes because he's actually the top of the division right now. Marlon Moraes should take on Pedro Munoz. Both guys coming off losses. Both guys in the top 5. Both guys don't speak good English. Get rid of one of them. That's what you should do. If they don't speak English, get rid of one. Cancel each other out. Put them on a fight night in Brazil as the co-main event. That's a great fight night. Imagine Marlon Moraes versus Pedro Munoz. What a war that would be. A great fight it would be as well. I'd love to see it. Marlon Moraes versus Pedro Munoz. Let's start with that. Cejudo's going to be at flyweight dealing with business there. So we can expect that from him. Moving on down the rankings. We won't talk about Cejudo for now. He's fighting Benavidez. Aljamain Sterling. Who should he fight next? Whoever Aljamain Sterling fights next, if he wins, he will get a title shot. If I was Aljamain Sterling, the perfect fight for me would be Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber would be the perfect fight. He's been put in at number 8. Where has Uriah Faber been placed in this division right now? Okay, the UFC hasn't updated their fucking website. They have him at number 14. That's disrespectful. In my opinion, Faber left at number 6. He won a fight on his return. He should be in the top 10. This website has him at number 8, and I think that's a worthy fight. Now, Aljamain Sterling should be seeking out that Uriah Faber fight like nobody's business. Like nobody's business, he should be seeking out the Uriah Faber fight. Because if he beats Faber, first of all, there's a card in California coming up soon. In the next few months. 3 or 4 months away. It's in San Francisco. I think that's in California. I'm from England. I don't know. It is in California. San Francisco. It's the gay place. It's the place with a lot of people from the LGBTQ community, I meant to say. I'm sorry. Please don't spam report this channel. Now, Uriah Faber versus Aljamain Sterling's the fight to make. It becomes a main event wherever it goes. Everyone's interested in it. And if Aljamain Sterling wins, first of all, it's an easier fight than some of the killers at the top 5. Second of all, it's a big name. He's going to get a limelight from it. He's going to cancel out an option for Cejudo when he comes back to 35. And he's going to be the only option left. Sterling's finally getting some shine. He was on Below the Belt, Food Truck Diaries, that show. He was on the Joe Rogan Experience. Sterling is building his way up to earn his title shot. And with win over Uriah Faber, I think he may just get it. Okay? Next thing. We've got Pedro Munoz, who should be fighting Marlon Moraes. We've got Cody Garbrandt, who is... Let's not talk about Cody Garbrandt yet, okay? Let's talk about Petr Yan. He's the savage we're all looking at right now. And Petr Yan should take on the winner of Corey Sandhagen versus Rafael Assunção. That's a great fight. They're both going to be in the top 5, whoever wins, out of Assunção or Sandhagen. And Petr Yan's top 4, so he's going to fight the winner of them. Easy. That's going to get the next title shot after Aljamain Sterling versus Uriah Faber winner. Right? That makes sense. Let's make it happen. Petr Yan versus the winner of Assunção versus Sandhagen. Hopefully it's Sandhagen because it's a new face in the mix. And Petr Yan's a savage. So we'll see what happens there. Pedro Munoz facing, obviously, Marlon Moraes. I said that so many times. Dominic Cruz sitting on the sideline for fucking ages. Last loss to Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt! Just below him. Sitting on the fucking sideline for ages. For ages, both of these guys have been out. Well, actually, not for Cody Garbrandt. That was at UFC 235. His is understandable. But for Dominic Cruz, he may as well be retired right now. But let's be real. I think a perfect fight to make for both of them is a rematch. Or you feed Cody Garbrandt to one of the young, hungry uppercomers that's looking to make a name. Because that's what should happen. If you lose 2 fights in a row outside of a championship fight, that's it. You've lost your position to call for guys above you or closer ranked to you that are going to benefit you. You have to stake. You've lost 3 in a row, Cody, and all have been by KO in the first or second round. Okay? You lost your belt. You've lost 2 in a row since then. You should be forced now to put your position up at stake for a young, hungry up-and-comer, because there are guys frothing at the mouth to get their opportunity. The UFC will do this, I think. I think they're going to give Cody Garbrandt a fight with Nathaniel Wood, who's a savage in the division. Nathaniel Wood's coming up 3-0, submission every time. 3 finishes in a row by submission. I think him versus Cody Garbrandt's a great fight. I'm pulling for Wood in that because Garbrandt's chin is Cody No Chin Garbrandt for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Nathaniel Wood would do a good job. Cody Garbrandt's still in the mix. He has lost so many in a row. You should set the precedent now that if you lose 2 in a row outside of defending your belt and being a champion, you should have to force your position up to someone who needs it. You know what I'm saying? One of these young, hungry up-and-comers. Once you beat that young, hungry up-and-comer and prove that you're still here and meant to be here, then you can start calling for guys ranked above you. But for right now, I think they should do Cody Garbrandt versus Nathaniel Wood, give Nathaniel Wood that jump up the rankings he needs. Moving on, Dominic Cruz. Who should he fight next? If Faber loses to Sterling, I don't mind seeing Cruz versus Faber run it back, but I don't want to see that, because I've seen it 3 times and I've seen Cruz win the last 2 of them pretty convincingly, in my opinion. And I feel like it would happen again and there's no interest there. However, Dominic Cruz could take on Jimmy Rivera. Jimmy Rivera coming off a loss to Piotr Jan. If you remember a while ago, Dominic Cruz versus Jimmy Rivera was supposed to be a fight that was happening. Dominic Cruz got injured. They cancelled that fight and that was lost in all of time. They can bring that fight back together because it's a great fight. Both guys coming off losses. A win will put both of them back in the mix. They're both closely ranked in the division. And it will give Cruz some bargaining power. Because right now, Cruz has been off for a while, losing steam and losing attraction. You know what I'm saying? He's losing the fans the longer he's out. Let's be real. I know there's going to be some diehard Cruz fans that are always going to support him. But in terms of the mass of the fans, if you're not fighting, they forget. You know what I'm saying? So I think if Cruz comes back, gets a win over Jimmy Rivera, he's right back in the mix. And hey, maybe he can have a Faber fight. Maybe he can have a Piotr Jan fight. Maybe he can have one of these big fights down the line. You know what I'm saying? Then he gets his negotiation power. Come back, win against a guy who's also coming off a loss. Then you call your shots. Okay? Then maybe if Cody Garbrandt beats Nathaniel Wood and Cruz beats Rivera, you can rematch them there. That makes more sense. Rather than giving Cruz back-to-back the same opponent, you can make it after a little bit of a fight in between. That's okay with me. Cruz versus Jimmy Rivera is the next fight to make. We move down the list to Corey Sandhagen, who's taking on Rafael Sunsao. Winner of that faces Piotr Jan, of course. Cody Stamann should take on Rob Font. Right next to each other in the rankings. Both in similar situations. They should fight each other. They were supposed to fight each other before, I believe. They should definitely fight each other. No questions asked. No questions asked. Rob Font and Cody Stamann should fight each other. Moving down again, John Dodson. And I'll go into this again. Let me look up John Dodson. It's this easy, guys. This is how the fight game should work. John the Magician Dodson. 2 losses in a row. Right, you stake your position up to a young, hungry up-and-comer. That's how it should work. John Dodson, you've lost 2 in a row. Guess what? Take on Song Yudong. Song Yudong versus John Dodson, done. Or John Dodson versus Eddie Wineland 2. Could be a good fight to make. We shall see. And then we move on to Song Yudong. This is where things get interesting, because Song Yudong is a person. And he's Chinese as well. But he can fight. No, not but he can fight. And he can fight. Not saying that if you're Chinese you can't fight. I'm in thin ice right now, okay? Song Yudong should take on Cody Stamann, Rob Font. If that fight doesn't get made, that's an interesting one. If not, John Dodson. If Dodson wants a guy that's ranked near him. If not, Song Yudong could take on a guy below him and probably get an easy win, such as Thomas Almeida, who's a guy coming off a loss. Song Yudong could knock him out. Let's face it, Thomas Almeida's lost all the steam. We're out of coal on this train, okay? This is no steam zone. There's a no steam zone. There's no hype around Thomas Almeida anymore. He's been knocked out too many times. He's been beaten when he was first rising up and was undefeated and had this massive streak of people he's beaten. Everyone was like tuning in to see Thomas Almeida fight. Now I think he's lost a bit of steam, so you're matching up with Song Yudong. The loser has to risk their position. Okay? Like and subscribe. That's the bantamweight division done. Give Nathaniel Wood his shot. Who else is outside the rankings that needs a bit of a shout out right now? To the 100 people that are going to watch this video. Ricky Simone can take on Thomas Almeida, John Dodson if he want. One of those guys. I don't really care. Who else? Montel Quick Jackson. There you go. Montel Jackson on a 2-fight win streak. I think he has a fight coming up as well. Nathaniel Wood, again, 3-0. 3 submissions in a row. Finishes. Finishing everyone. Manny Bermudez has a fight coming up at UFC 241. If he wins that, give him a shot at some of these top guys. There are guys floating outside the top 15 that need their shot in there. So when guys start losing in the top 15, make them fight a guy that's outside of it. Such as Marlon Vera. He's on a streak right now of beating guys. Give him a shot at the top. Sean O'Malley when he comes back, if he wins one more, he's going to want a shot at the top. There's a lot of guys coming up, and a lot of these losers in the top 15 need to start paying the price for losing. Because right now we're holding their hand a bit too much. You know, if you lose 3 in a row, 2 in a row, that's it. You need to state your position to a younger guy. And if you lose that, you're cut. And if you win it, good. You proved you're still here. Now you can get a fight that's more favourable for you. Now you can get a fight that's ranked at least. You know? If you're losing 2 in a row, you should be punished. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye.